Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're starting another CycleKart series, this time an Edwardian. So one of the cool things about Edwardian CycleKarts is the size. We get to use a different size wheel. We're not having to use the 17-inch Honda CT90 wheels, we can use an 18-inch wheel. And we found these fabulous aluminum mags. Check that out. So these are aluminum mags. I got these from a vendor on an internet vendor. I'll put the link in the description. It's a little sketchy at first. Feels like you're getting scammed because it hits your credit card as a fraud charge, but you have to approve that. And they don't actually take the money out of your account until these things ship. So Kelly Wood turned me onto these. They are massive. They're 18 inches, and you can use a 3-inch tire. They end up standing about 24 inches tall, and you can see the CT90 wheel behind it. Just a little difference in the overall size. You can see that here. But really cool looking wheel. Mark Parnell's working on a hub arrangement to mount these. Let's see, I think there's some bolt patterns back here. This is where the hubs are going to mount. We'll remove that bearing and put the hub through here for your standard CycleKart axle. So that is kind of the heart of a CycleKart Edwardian build. And a couple things, this is a bit of a process. So I'm going to kind of go over, this is all my drawings, all the research and stuff. So I thought I'd share with you my process for the design. So this is our inspiration. Well, this is actually backwards. It's a 1911 Franklin Model D race car. And this car still exists today pretty much in its original form. And I really looked at this back when I built my dad's Duesenberg. This was on display at the Phoenix Art Museum, and so initially I did some kind of sketches back then, and this is one of those sketches. A CycleKart version of it, more of a 17-inch wheel version, so it's kind of a lower center of gravity. And that kind of looks all right, but for this one we're going to full Edwardian, which will be much taller. So again, there's the low center of gravity car with a 64-inch wheelbase. So in doing this, some of the rules require a 74-inch wheelbase for an Edwardian. And so I've done some sketches here. You can kind of see the process of going through this. Is a little shorter, 72-inch wheelbase on that one. Didn't quite finish the drawing. And this has this double elliptical or full spring. And that's what's on the original car. But to do that, it makes it very, very tall. So we're doing something slightly different. And some of these drawings still show those full springs here. But we are going to modify that bit. In the back, we'll have suspension. There's suspension pieces back here. And this is like a control arm where the engine's got a swing arm for the engine. And so I'm kind of showing you my process. This is a 72-inch wheelbase, which I decided was a little too short. A little short back here. If you look at the relationship of the wheel to that gas tank, you know, that one's pretty much level with it. So in the consulting with Kelly Wood, I sent him some drawings, and he made some suggestions about lowering the hood line, which we did, and then moving the wheel back a little bit, which we did. So this is a 79-inch. That was a little too far. That gave me a little too much gap. What I settled on is a 78-inch wheelbase, which is that drawing there. And that pretty much nails that drawing. So I'm going to pull it back so you can see both of them together at the same time there. So thinking that pretty well nailed the profile. So that's where I started the design process, is just getting the profile to look as much like the inspiration car as we can and still be a CycleKart, still be able to fit. You know, your body has to fit in this space, right? So, and it should. So that's the distance here is about 25 or 26 inches from the seat back to the steering wheel. Be plenty of room for your legs under here. This will all, I'm not sure if this will have a solid dash. The original car would have been solid right here at the bulkhead where the pedals are going to go, or if it's going to be inside here. I haven't, until we get there, I'm not sure exactly where my feet are going to end up yet. So we're designing this on the fly a little bit. So some of the other design features of this car, it's got a really interesting front axle arrangement. This kind of this drop loop. It's almost like a solid or a continuous curve as it goes across here. And there you can see those double springs where it's got a spring on top and a spring on bottom. And I got these springs, I'll show you those real quick, from Ingles Coat Shop. So these are the springs, the buggy springs. This is what we used to use before VKC and before Renegade came along with their single spring, where you can just buy just the spring you need for CycleKarts. But on this one I needed the top spring and its attachment point and the bottom spring. So I ordered 2 more. I already had 2 in the shop. You see these are painted white because they were from a different project, but we'll be modifying these to fit our needs, and I'll show you what I mean by modifying. So when we decided to go with that spring arrangement, we're going to do a 3/4 elliptical. So I'm going to cut the top spring. It'll be mounted here. So this will be the top spring here. The bottom spring, this will have a swing arm right here, the shackles here. So that'll give us the suspension travel we need, but also make it not quite, it'll be a little shorter. Otherwise it's 10 inches of suspension underneath there, and that's a lot. There's a picture of what the original would have looked like. Right, that's the original Franklin from the period. It's got the same spring on the front as it does on the back. And Mark Parnell sent me these architectural drawings of the front axle. See this, that swoop it's got in it? It's a real gentle swoop, and the springs mount right here and here. And so I've started sketching that out. So the spring mounts are going to be here and here. This is where your kingpin is going to be mounted. So I'm going to have to bend this. I'm going to make a cardboard template or something and then bend that to fit. And of course, people ask about, geometry, and this is sort of the geometry we work with on cycle karting. So I'm going to try to maintain some of that geometry with this build, and kind of trying to emulate as much of the look as we can. It's more about the look than it is performance on this car, as this is not a speed racer. This will be simply for fun, tooling around. And this drawing's not quite complete yet, but it's rendering the front of the hood, what that would look like. This car has a really unique engine in it. The original car has an air-cooled 6-cylinder engine, and you might say there's a whole lot more than 6 pipes there, because there are some of those are compression and decompression pipes. I'm not sure exactly how that all works on those engines, but there's a lot of pipes sticking out the side. And then the back is a little bit abbreviated, so this ends before the back of the tire. So we'll recreate this little deck here. And I might even try to make this a functional fuel tank. I might mount some tanks up inside of here, maybe 2 Predator tanks side by side. We'll see. That's kind of an idea. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that or if I'll get to that, but I might get to hurry and finish it. So this is the car when it was on display at the Phoenix Art Museum. You can see the front desk personnel in the background. So when that was in town here, I got some really good photos of it when I did the Duesenberg. I took all those pictures of the Duesenberg at the same location. So, and this fact that this has some Arizona history, it raced in 1911, 1912 in the desert race from Los Angeles to Phoenix. So it's got an Arizona connection, which I kind of like. So here's my frame design, what I came up with on the frame. So it's 25 inches at the very back, 20 inches at the very front, and it's 92 inches overall. So right now there's only 2 cross members. Front cross member is 7 inches back from the front. The rear cross member is flush with the rear. And this gives us a 78-inch wheelbase. And actually I've got the frame here. I kind of already got it cut. It's about ready to weld. It sits on the welding table now and getting ready to put together. So I've kind of done some rudimentary sketches on what the rear swing arm is going to look like. Kind of use your imagination. This is real crude. This is just the spring. This is the axle shaft. I got some round tubing I'm going to secure in here, and then we'll attach it with some round tubing. That'll be a whole nother series, but kind of unique, different approach, because we are going to do a suspension on the back of this. So the Edwardian does have a class in the CycleKart guidelines on G-Trevi's website. So basically it comes down to an 18-inch wheel if it's appropriate for the build. Some cars would look better with 17s. This is going to definitely look better with 18s. You see how tall that tire is. It's probably 22-inch wheel originally. And of course, car wheels are taller than motorcycle wheels. We're still sticking with a 39-inch wheel track and minimum 74 inches. So we're going longer than that because it's appropriate for this car. And one of the other things is you're supposed to sit a minimum of 4 inches above the rear axle, which will definitely be 4 inches above the rear axle here. That's not a problem. So, of course, if your car is an Edwardian era car and it's smaller, like the GN or different cars like that, Bedelias, there are smaller versions, so 17-inch wheels would be appropriate on those as dictated by the car. So really, it's really about the appearance, trying to get this appearance. I could use 17 inches on here, it'd probably be okay, but it's going to look way better with these cool mag wheels. So original mag wheels, they're actually wood, and I'll try to make these look like wood when I'm done. We're going to try to capture as much of the detail in this, the patina and appearance, as we possibly can. So I know I went over that kind of quick, guys, but pause your video, take a look at the pictures and the diagrams. I'll go back over here to the other. So this is what it should look like when we're done, if I do everything the way I think it's going to work out. So this is my first time building an Edwardian, so I'm kind of excited about it. I'm a little nervous about it. So follow along as we have this adventure. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, ask questions. All that helps with the YouTube channel, and I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Get out in the garage and build something cool.